Hello everyone and welcome back to Planet Zoo. Today we are working on our safari zoo that I started last week. So I was kind of just managing the big exhibit a little bit, and then I was deciding which animals I wanted to put in, and I decided we're gonna do the African elephants. Kind of wanted to hide the fencing a little bit. That's the overall goal, is to make everything look pretty. So sometimes I do it like before I build a new habitat, sometimes I build it during a new habitat. It's just all over the place. So I decided on the African elephant, and I decided with this one I didn't want the road to cut off the habitat at all, like I did with the mixed exhibit or habitat. So I make the road go around the habitat, just because if I wanted to do an underpass for the elephants, like the African elephant, like the bull elephant, like the the male is ginormous, so it would have had to have been tall. I would have had to have upped the road a bit more, and I just didn't want to create it any higher. I didn't want to take away from actually viewing the animals, and I did want to give them more water. I think they did need a swimmable area, or at least a little bit of water, but I thought that would be kind of cool to give them a little bit of a river, as kind of on a watering hole river binge for these first two habitats, which is fine. It's just not something I've ever really done. So, I mean, going from like polar bears to Africa is very, very different. I am still doing grassland, so the foliage is a little bit more, but not anywhere near as it could be as like a forest. So yeah, I did like doing the terrain up like that, just to give me kind of a marker for the rocks. And I will say I use rocks 1 and 4 way too much. I need to add some variety in my life. Some parts of it I do a pretty good job of hiding. Other parts of it, it's very obvious I use like 1 rock, so I do have to kind of go back through. But I've been using more foliage to disguise my love of everything rocks number 1 and 4. Which I've always loved rock number 1 in every single like build I've had to do. It's been rock number 1 whenever I've had to do like a wall or something substantial. And it is nice that throughout all of the different rock types, like number 1 is always the same, number 4 is always the same, so you can kind of replicate things a little easier. So I went through with rock number 4 and kind of tried to even it out a little bit, added some other types of rocks and level it a bit. But yeah, overall I do really like how the elephant's habitat came out. I keep calling it exhibit. I've been trying to differentiate exhibit and habitat. Trying. It hasn't been super helpful. So yeah, it's very repetitive, and that's okay. I have to get better at adding a little bit more diversity into the build. But I'm practicing and I'm getting better and more creative. Well, not more creative, but understanding what I can do and how things look in the game is a big part of it. It's so cool that you can literally do like almost anything in this game, but at the same time you have to be able to understand the mechanics enough and have enough practice with the mechanics enough to do it. So it really is just a matter of like practice, practice, practice. And I notice like the faster I get with everything, the easier it is to kind of have more patience for more foliage and stuff. So I am glad that I started with like the practice zoo and like the tundra taiga type of biomes and the polar bear sanctuary, because that kind of gave me enough practice with just placing rocks that when I came to do this project, and I've watched enough other people on YouTube building phenomenal things, that I really wanted to, get a little quicker at it. So it was nice to kind of, it really didn't take me that long at all to make this habitat, which is kind of surprising to me personally. Like, this is the longest part of the habitat, was making this road through it. And that's pretty much been the longest part of this adventure in general, has been the road, well, and the waterfall in the previous habitat. I love that waterfall. I think I said in the last one that waterfall alone took me like 45 minutes, because it's not something I'd really ever practice. That's not something that, I really had ever done before. So it was interesting to kind of play with those mechanics a bit more and play with how to make that almost realistic looking. Because that's the thing with this particular zoo, is I want it to look like you're going on safari. I want it to look like you're driving through the African savanna, and you see this luscious, beautiful watering hole at the edge of a jungle, and you see all these animals enjoying and cooperating it, and then you turn the corner and wow, there's these elephants that are obviously like the enrichment items, and their shelters and stuff kind of take away from that a little bit, but I'm not confident on building my own shelters yet. I think so. Next week will be the African wild dogs, and I do attempt to build my own shelter a little bit, and it's also understanding what the game counts as a hard shelter and not. So that's a big part of it too, is just kind of seeing what the game actually wants to count it. And at this point, I was praying I had enough space, because I had rocked it all out, and I was like, I sincerely hope I don't have to tear this all down and make it bigger, which fortunately the only animal I've ever had to like make significantly bigger exhibit is a polar bear, because I cannot get it in my head that they need like 7,000 meters squared space. Like, in my head they need like 2,000, which that's their water. They need 2,000 swimmable water meters squared. So it's insane. So yeah, they were happy little campers. I did end up needing a third elephant, so I ended up with a male and 2 females, and I was so happy to see them going and swimming, and the pictures and the videos I took of the elephants, it made me so happy to see that all of these animals swim, and I didn't really realize that was a mechanic that was in the game. Like, it makes sense, especially since they added the aquatic pack, but I was so tremendously disappointed with the polar bears not having the deep diving mechanic added to them yet, that I assumed all of the animals were kind of half-assed in terms of animations and stuff. So I really was not expecting to see this giant African bull elephant, like just enjoying the water and having so much fun. And that was really cool to see. And I missed he was playing with that giant log thing too as well. Like he is so fun. Like for a computer generated elephant, like he seems like he has such a personality. It's so fun. So like I said, the next habitat I build is the African wild dogs. I hope you guys tune in next week and watch that. I hope you guys enjoy this type of building style, the safari type of builds. I really have enjoyed it a little bit, stepping out of the tundra and the taiga and, taking a break from the One World Zoo a little bit in between, different world days. I think upcoming is World Frog Day next, so I'm excited to bring you guys that video too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much, and have a wonderful and fantastic day. Bye guys.